Welcome back, Leggari Nation. On today's video, we're showing you an installation for one of our Metallic Epoxy Floor Kits. It has a titanium base and sky blue highlights. This video will show you step-by-step how to install a Leggari Metallic Epoxy Floor Kit. Let us know in the comments below what colors you would pick for your floor.
Okay, we're getting ready to do the floor. I'm gonna mix up a little bit of primer. I'm gonna use anywhere from 40 to 48 ounces. So you're gonna wanna shake up the part A and the part B a little bit, and we're gonna do a black primer on this since we're doing, I'm gonna shake this up a little bit more. Since we're doing a titanium base, we're gonna do sky blue highlights. We're gonna do a black base. You can do a light gray base or a black base. Either one will work. And when I say base, I mean primer. So we're gonna blend that up a little bit. And then we're gonna add our 10% water. All right, we'll spin this drill off in a garbage can and then we'll prime that floor. We're just going to pour out a little bit of primer and work our way backwards. And then you want to go from side to side, from edge to edge. You always want to keep a straight line. I think that's one of the biggest keys of just having a very clean project, especially with the primer. I'll do a couple more passes and then I'll begin to work my way out of this. And then when we're done, it'll be very quick and we'll be able to do the epoxy soon after. And if you're ever kind of frustrated about how your lines are overlapping and you want to fill some of it in, that's why I like to cross roll like this. Just evens it out a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to roll side to side all the way back. Now the reason why I do that is because then when I cross roll, I'm actually cross rolling away from me and I don't need to go back out on the floor. All right, now notice this was just done. This was done probably about 5 minutes ago. Notice how it's starting to get darker in places. It's already starting to set up and it's pretty cold in this warehouse, so it'll take longer than usual. But we'll give it about 30 minutes and then we'll come and do the metallic epoxy. All right, so our floor is ready to coat. The primer is tacky. It's not coming off on my gloves. So now I want to show you how to separate just a basic 3-gallon kit for like a floor this size, or even if you need multiple kits, we can separate those as well. So if I'm starting out with a 3-gallon kit, I want to pull some from my 3-gallon kit for my highlights. Now the total volume on the floor needs to be 45 square feet per gallon. So you need a 3-gallon kit for every 135 square feet. But I want to take about a quart out. So what I'm going to do is make it easy. I'm going to pour out 20 ounces of my part A. Because it's 2 to 1, then I'm going to separate 10 ounces of my part B. Again, I'm just separating some part B and some part A for the highlights. Right here, I got my part A, I got my part B, And now what we always teach is that we're gonna take the metallics, and we're actually going to put the highlight metallics into the part A. I'm gonna put a respirator on because we don't want to breathe the metallic dust.
Do not do this at home.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal.
That's how you want to mix in your highlights. So the other thing we like to teach is you shoot your highlights all over the room, and then you just take a spatula, and then you just slowly, just kind of, and then you just clean up your mixing station and start over. So we're gonna be right back. Okay, so that's not really how you want to mix highlights. But if that happens, because it does happen, clearly, just clean it up. That's why we always keep denatured alcohol around in a spray bottle and some rags. Here's what you're gonna wanna check. If you have a drill like this, make sure it's on 1, not 2. If it's on 1, you can pull the trigger all the way. If it's on 2, you cannot pull the trigger all the way because it'll do that. So we're gonna continue the process. So I got some more part A, which I did not pull any more part A out of this, obviously. We're just gonna continue the process. So we like mixing all the metallics into the part A's first. Again, it's so that while we're actually doing the project, we don't have to stop the project and mix in a bunch of metallics and do all of this busy work while the floor is already starting to set up. So now I have my part A and my part B separated from my 3-gallon kit. So let's just get the base coat ready as well. We're gonna take the part A's, the full gallon, and then what we have remaining from that first little bit that we poured out for the highlights. We're gonna just drain that into a 5-gallon bucket. Keep these upside down for a couple minutes. Then what I like to do is tip it back up and actually dislodge anything that's maybe stuck in the handle here. So now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the highlights. I have my part B here ready to go, but I wanna mix in my metallic pigments into the base coat as well, into the part A, because again, we don't want to do this while the project is setting up. Now, after I mix these metallics in, I'm going to go over by the floor and show you how to mix the bucket properly. And then when I'm ready, Tyler's gonna mix the highlights for me and just hand it for me. You don't wanna mix the highlights up ahead of time because they're just gonna be sitting in this mass and they'll actually get hot and set up. Now, same thing, I'm gonna put my respirator on. I'm gonna pour in all the metallics from a large because one large goes to a 3-gallon kit and we're close to a large here. We're close to a 3-gallon kit, so I'm gonna pour all of this metallic in and mix it. I'm actually gonna use the same paddle wheel because I'm not trying to mix all the epoxy together. I'm just trying to blend in the metallic. So it's fine to use this wheel. And I'm not even going to clean off the sky blue because I'm doing a darker metallic for my base coat. You won't notice any of that blue in it. Okay, so this is what you want before you start your project. You want all of your highlights separated with your highlight color mixed into the part A, and you want all your base coats separated with your base coat color mixed into the part A. So we're at the mixing station now. We're just gonna mix in the hardener, the part B. What we like to do is mix it in this bucket, and we're not gonna mix it long, only about a minute, minute and a half maybe. Then we're gonna pour it into a second bucket and mix it again. Okay, I'm gonna spin the drill off in that new bucket. Now what I wanna do is pour the entire batch into the brand new bucket. This is vital. Okay, now we have the base coat ready to go. I'm gonna put my spike shoes on. Now a lot of times you'll just have a person on the floor on spike shoes already and a dedicated person mixing. Okay, so I have my spike shoes on. I'm gonna pour out the bead all around the perimeter and then one bead right down the middle. First thing I'm gonna do is, like I mentioned, I'm gonna go all the way around the perimeter. Then I'm gonna start spreading it with the squeegee. Now, we always use the squeegee first because it moves the epoxy around about 90% of the way. The first thing I wanna do is I wanna focus on the perimeter. Now it's not going to be perfectly level. I'm not pushing down all the way. See, if I push down all the way, because this is a squeegee, I can move almost the whole pile. I can take it back down to the black primer. We're not trying to do that. We're just giving it a little bit of pressure. See, notice how wide it's getting, and I have a big old bead behind that trowel. That's what you want. I'm just kind of laying it down. I'm not pushing down real hard, just hard enough to build up a pile. I can kind of control how close to that edge I get, how much I leave behind. See, if I tilt it like this, it'll come off the squeegee. Looks like we have a little junk in there. Or I can move it so none of it goes off the edge of the squeegee. So it just depends on how you're trying to move the material around. Now, once I'm kind of done with my perimeter, and obviously the perimeter needs a little bit of work, I just want to go back and forth across this bead in the middle and fill in the middle of this floor. But I'm just going back and forth, moving that bead. So now I'm pretty much at the other end of the floor. I have this massive bead, but I know, looking across that floor, kind of where I need some, right? Right on the edge of the floor here. Just gonna leave a little bit more behind. But I'm gonna move this pile back down to the other side. Back up here where I can see a lot of primer. Okay, now I'm done with the squeegee. I'll just set that down on my mixing station. There is a chance that I could need it again, so I won't take the handle off. Okay, so now I got my roller. This is 3/8 inch snap roller. This is 9 inch. Now this is only 135 square feet, so we can use a 9 inch roller. Anything much bigger than this, 300, 400, 500 square feet or more, get an 18 inch roller. You still want to use a 3/8 inch nap and roll it on some Scotch tape like we do, just to de-shed it and remove any loose fibers. What you want to do is take your fresh roller and find the piles. Find a few piles and really just soak it up. So you want to get it soaked up enough where you can't really hear the roller roll that much. I'm not applying any pressure. The weight of the roller and just me moving it back and forth, it's just floating on the top and it is distributing this epoxy. And so I'm just going edge to edge. Anytime you're trying to level out a floor or an area, you want to go edge to edge, wall to wall. I'm going to spread this thick area out a little bit. Now I'm just cross rolling the other direction. So I level it out going this way, and now I'm just leveling it out going the other way. Okay, so just gonna set this right there because it's gonna have a little pile under it, and then I'll soak that up before we start swirling. So now I'm gonna grab my highlights. And there's no rhyme or reason for the highlights. It just depends on the look you're going for. I'm gonna go with more of a kind of a Leggari classic look where we're doing more of piles. And I'll kind of stretch them out a little bit. Do some like real thick piles. And we wanna be as random as we can be. Kind of sporadic, get some on the edges here. So now I'm going to take my roller, the same roller I used to level out the floor, and it's got a little pile under it. I'm just going to soak that back up. Now what I want to do is just work from one side of the room to the other side of the room. And what we're going to do is use this roller and we're just going to swirl it. We're not going to push down, just like when we cross-leveled the floor. We're just going to swirl it across the surface just to disrupt the hard lines on these veins and to spread it into the rest of the floor. Now I'm trying to be as random as I can with how I'm swirling it. Okay, so you can kind of see a little bit of what that's going to look like, but again, this will move for the next probably 2 or 3 hours. One more thing we want to do, and that's spray denatured alcohol on the whole floor. Mist the whole thing with denatured alcohol. It's gonna help it level out, especially when it's really cold like this. Any bubbles that came from me swirling, it will also dissipate those. All right, this is gonna be really cool. So we'll show you what this looks like tomorrow.